A new approach for managing spray drift off the orchard perimeter is being examined by Cures and the University of California. It's called interference perimeter spraying. The concept is simple. Two orchard sprayers move through the orchard parallel to each other. One sprayer on the outside row and another between row 1 and 2. The rig between row 1 and 2 is spraying normally, while the rig on the outside row is running with the fan on and all spray nozzles shut off. In effect, the sprayer on the outside is running interference, the air from the rig pushing any spray material back into the trees where it belongs. Once these two sprayers complete a pass, a single sprayer runs down the orchard perimeter with the outside nozzle bank shut off, with the nozzles facing the tree on, allowing for normal spray coverage of the outside of the orchard. What we learned in the field trials with this practice was that it's important for the sprayers to move exactly perpendicular to each other. Also that both sprayers need to have identical or near identical fan speed and air volume displacement. In the field trial, we also looked at running sprayers in tandem with the outside sprayer having its inward-facing nozzles open instead of shut off and only blowing air. We call this double spray. With this approach, we actually found increased drift. We suspect that this was caused by the turbulence and added spray material being carried up and over the equipment and moving off-site. We compared spray drift leaving an orchard by measuring the percentage of water particles that settle between 25 and 100 feet from the outside row using three techniques: interference perimeter spray, or air in using two parallel rigs, grower standard, a single rig, and double spray, two parallel rigs spraying simultaneously. Results from our field trials show that the most spray drift occurs with the grower standard and double spray techniques, while the least spray drift is using the interference perimeter spray technique. A significant difference in spray drift mitigation can be seen up to 100 feet from the outside row. A recent modification to the approach is installing a shroud or shield over the outer bank of nozzles on the outside sprayer. The shroud is made from high-impact plastic and for the field trial was simply attached using zip ties. There are two purposes for the shroud: direct more of the air toward the outer row. Also, the shroud eliminates much of the turbulence caused by the air blowing away from the orchard. Once the two sprayers complete the outside rows, the shroud is simply removed and set aside until those rows near the sensitive sites are sprayed again. One manufacturer, Aerofan, builds all its sprayers with adjustable air vanes. When these vanes are closed, they accomplish the same purpose as the shroud, directing air away from a sensitive site. Running orchard sprayers in tandem through a field is not a new practice, and in fact is being seen more often in crops such as citrus with dense canopies. The added turbulence of two sprayers increases penetration and coverage to the inner part of the tree where tough pests such as scale are living. Interference perimeter spraying still needs further study, but the concept shows promise as another practice for protecting surface water and other sensitive areas from off-site movement of spray drift. Work is continuing at the University of California to better understand airflow characteristics and off-site movement of orchard air blast sprayers by using computer modeling. Dr. Peter Larby, Assistant Cooperative Extension Specialist at the Kearney Agricultural Research and Extension Center in Parlier, has collected field data over the last 2 years in air blast spray applications to grapes, almonds, and citrus. Sophisticated spray drift collection devices and wind measuring instruments were used in the fields as normal spray applications were being made. Ultimately, this data will be used in what is called a mechanistic model that could eventually replace the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's adopted current model, the Ag Drift model, developed more than 20 years ago. The Ag Drift model is based on data collected from applications made in various crops, but was not designed to allow model users to vary environmental and application conditions. Because of that limitation, the EPA uses the young dormant apple orchard scenario for its initial drift risk assessments, regardless of the crop or when in the growing season a given chemical might be applied. The motivation behind the drift data collection studies is to record real-world data to create an updated model, one that can be used to look at the likelihood of drift under varying environmental, crop, and application situations. This effort will provide the EPA and California Department of Pesticide Regulation with a new, reliable decision support tool for estimating off-site movement for pesticide risk assessments and reevaluations. The more we understand about spray drift, the better growers can seek solutions for their own farming operations.